So here's where we are, sons of God with sovereignty. So we're looking at the sons of God, and of course, Yahweh is the sovereign one. Here's our objectives. And again, there's outlines if you don't have one there in the walkway. What does it mean to be sovereign? How does God render judgment? And how about roll call, this very interesting passage in Isaiah where God calls realm to account and for roll. And then what does it mean to be a marionette? So we're going to start up here with God being sovereign, and what does that mean? Psalm 95:3, for Yahweh is the great God, El, the singular Elohim, the great king above all Elohim. So yes, the Bible teaches multiple Elohim, realm 2, but he is the great God over them all. Number 1, Yahweh is the great God, the great king, above all Elohim. 95:4, in his hand are the depths of the earth, and the mountain peaks belong to him. The sea is his, for he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. So you might say, why does it all belong to God? Why is he sovereign? And it's so simple, because he made it all, the heavens and the earth. Psalm 97, Yahweh reigns, let the earth be glad, let the distant shores rejoice. Clouds and thick darkness surround him. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of his throne. Fire goes before him and consumes his foes on every side. So you'll see a lot in Scripture of fire being judgment by God. Lightning lights up the world, it's his. The earth sees and trembles. The mountains melt like wax before Yahweh, before the Adonai or the Adon of all the earth. So a word like Adonai can be a lord, like a lord with nobles in realm 3, and it can also be Yahweh as the Lord over other lords. Always a context will tell you. The heavens proclaim his righteousness, and all the people see his glory. All who worship images are put to shame. Those who boast in idols. This word for idols, Elil, is an interesting one. It's not even a noun. It's an adjective. Worthless. Those who are worshiping and boasting in idols, that would be realm 2 gods. He never says they don't exist, because look at the next part. Worship him, all you Elohim. He's not saying they don't exist, but compared to him, they are worthless. So who's sovereign? It's Yahweh. Yahweh is the sovereign one. What about these other realm 2 Elohim? What are they supposed to do? And notice you're supposed to worship. They're supposed to worship Yahweh. Number 2, all the Elohim are commanded to worship Yahweh. So now when you start thinking of this unseen realm 2, to worship Yahweh, and you think, what direction does worship go? So we know that we worship up to Yahweh. So we would worship in realm 1, but we are created humans. We are created to worship Elohim. So we may worship realm 2. The holy angels will divert that worship back to Yahweh, but the fallen ones will absorb it and stimulate it and want us to worship them. We are created to worship Elohim. You and I every day are worshiping an Elohim. The only question is which one. And so many times we don't even connect the dots with what we're doing. But look at realm 2. That psalm is telling them that all of realm 2 is commanded to worship up to Yahweh. So go to Psalm 97. For you, Yahweh, are the Most High, the Elyon over all the earth. You are exalted far above all Elohim. You see this context being repeated. So Yahweh is on his throne. He is the sovereign. Yes, the Bible teaches there's a pantheon of gods, but they're worthless when they're compared to Yahweh, but they have significant power compared to us. Satan just likes to lop Yahweh off his throne and teach a pantheon. And notice every culture on earth has a pantheon of gods. That's reality. They just lop off Yahweh is what Satan does. Psalm 86, among the Elohim, there is none like you. He is an Elohim. He is a spirit deity. But among the Elohim, there is none like you, Adonai. No deeds compare with yours. And deeds, especially as works of creation, none of them can create out of nothing. Psalm 132, Yahweh has chosen Zion. He has desired it for his habitation. He will move the chess pieces on the board because he's sovereign. This is my resting place forever. Here I will dwell, Zion, because I have desired it. There I will cause the horn of David. Now this is an interesting word. What is a horn? It could be a trumpet, it could be, these are like animal horns. A horn, you will see, is a realm 2 or 1. It is an Elohim. It is a power that moves nations. That's what a horn is. We're going to start seeing that play out in a couple verses here. But in this case, who is it? Well, that is realm 1, Yahweh, the anointed, the Messiah, is the horn of David. But we'll see there's other realm 2 horns that will come into play as well. We go to Psalm 135. We've covered this one in a couple weeks ago with Sihon and Og, God moving the chess pieces sovereignly around the board. Praise Yah, form of Yahweh, for Yahweh is good. Sing praises to his name, it is lovely. For Yah has chosen Jacob for himself, sovereignly made that choice, Israel for his possession. For I know that Yahweh is great, and that our Adonai is above all Elohim. So we're just getting, I like to put those words in there because it forces our thinking to be a little bit different, so we don't just read through stuff and not pay attention. Whatever Yahweh pleases, he does. He is sovereign. And notice he has no constraint or boundary to his territory. Heaven, earth, seas, all the deeps. He has no boundary. Every mythology, a deity has a bounded area of little s sovereignty. Yahweh has capital S, full sovereignty over all creation, over it all. He causes the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He makes lightnings for the rain. He brings forth the wind from his treasuries. He smote, who was it? Yahweh smote the firstborn of Egypt, man and beast. So you see that repeated several times. It's not some lesser being, it's Yahweh himself. He sent signs and wonders. So again, horns, you're going to have realm 2. Wonders is going to be acts of creation or judgment. Yahweh down to realm 2. It's a key word. It's waving a flag. Here's what's going to come. And there you see the plagues in Egypt, judgment on the Elohim of Egypt. And also realm 3, Pharaoh and his servants. He, Yahweh, smote many nations, slew many kings, Sihon and Og, those giants, the Nephilim, the Rephaim that we talked about a couple weeks ago. He took their land, and he gave that land sovereignly to Israel as an inheritance. And ultimately it goes to the Messiah. He is the sovereign one moving the pieces on the board. Then the next psalm is 136, basically saying a lot of the same things. Give thanks to Yahweh, he is good, he is everlasting. Give thanks to the Elohim of Elohim, the God of gods. He is everlasting. That's a form of Adonai over the other plural Adonim or Adonai. So he is a Lord of lords. He is different than all the other Elohim. And then he goes on to talk about Sihon and Og in Psalm 136 as well. So we looked at worship that goes which direction? Uphill. How about judgment? It's going to go downhill. So judgment is going to go downhill. So God, of course, judges us, realm 1 judging realm 3. God will also judge realm 2. But realize realm 2 also is over realm 3 in judgment. And we'll see that crystal clear here in a minute. But just a little foreshadowing. We're not going to go into this, but 1 Corinthians 6, do you not know that we will judge angels? And that word is the same in the quote from the Psalms of Elohim. So that must require movement of us in realm 3 after we're redeemed and resurrected. That's just a little teaser for what will come. So number 3, worship goes uphill, judgment goes downhill. So now we're going to move to judgment and specific judgment with Yahweh, and we're going to see his power as we go through this. That's one of the big points here today. Psalm 89, let the heavens praise your wonders. What is this going to be? What realm? Heavens is going to be realm 2. Praise your wonders. So that's going to be judgments. O Yahweh, your faithfulness in the assembly of the Holy One. So this is very clearly a realm 2 passage. For who in the skies, another realm 2 group of Elohim, who among them can be compared to Yahweh? Rhetorical question, none of them can. Who among the heavenly beings? That's the Ben El, the sons of God. Who among them is like Yahweh? They're all created, he is not. He is a God, he is an El, greatly to be feared in the council of the holy ones. The holy ones are not realm 3, they're realm 2. And awesome above all who are around him. So he is surrounded by these Elohim, but he is different from all of them. Yahweh, Elohim of the Savaot, So they'll have their B's pronounced like B, and like a V. So when you see the Lord of hosts, that is another red flag waving. Here comes realm 2, interaction from Yahweh down to realm 2. And it's obvious once you see it, but he's telling you there's going to be issues here. Who among realm 2, the Savah, is as mighty as you, O Yahweh? Your faithfulness to all those around you. Look at all the realm 2 beings here. Multiple of them, all highlighted in yellow. And let the heavens, so he's telling you, let the heavens praise your wonders. That's not the sun, moon, the stars. It is the beings. Your wonders, there will be judgment of realm 1 onto realm 2. That's what these are talking about. Why is Yahweh to be greatly feared? That's what we're going to get into. Number 4, Yahweh is an Elohim, greatly to be feared in the council of the holy ones. Key thing to understand. He is Yahweh Elohim of the Sabaoth, of the host of heaven. So this is an interesting question. Why is he to be greatly feared? So we're going to explore that a little bit. We'll go to Psalm 82. We've looked at this one several weeks ago. Jesus quotes it in his claim to deity, but we're going to kind of go through this again. Why is he feared? Here, big G, Elohim, so that's Yahweh. The context will always tell you who it is. Sometimes you may not be sure when you just read Elohim, but Elohim, big G, Elohim, has taken his place in the divine council in the midst of little g Elohim, so these other Elohim, and he is holding judgment. And he says, how long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? The Selah there just means pause, stop, think, consider what is going on. Big G Elohim is now criticizing little g Elohim. That is the context. There is no humans in this yet. Notice the quote. Here is Yahweh speaking to the little g Elohim. How long will you guys judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Give justice to the weak and the fatherless. He's telling what they should be doing. Maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. This is a sermon from Yahweh to little g Elohim. Notice the end quote. So that is Yahweh speaking to little g God Elohim. And he is holding judgment. What is his judgment? What does he say? What's their problem? They're not doing those things. They are judging that's going to be hard to get. They are judging unjustly. That cannot be God speaking to another member of the Trinity, because nothing in the Trinity could be unjust. Now we turn to the next verse. Notice the quotes are off. So this is no longer Yahweh speaking to little g Elohim. This is now realm 3. They, humans, realm 3, have neither knowledge nor understanding. They're under the fallen realm 2. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. When you see shaking, that's also a key word for judgment being rendered. Now we go back. Notice there's a new quote. And Elohim said, new quote, referring back to the other Elohim. I said, you are gods, you are Elohim, you are sons of Elyon, you are sons of God, you are sons of the Most High, all of you. He's no longer addressing what's happening to realm 3, he's back to realm 2. Nevertheless, like men you shall die and fall like any prince. And notice that's where the quote ends. So who is God speaking to? He's speaking to realm 2, to Elohim. He is speaking to deities in the council. What is the judgment? You are unjust like men. Notice you are not men. Like men, you shall die. This is a death sentence that hasn't yet been carried out. Why is Yahweh to be greatly feared? He judges death sentences. Number 5, Yahweh is feared because he passes death sentences on unjust Elohim. They know that. Now you go back to realm 3. it'll deal with realm 3. Arise, O Elohim. Now we're talking about the big G God. Judge the earth, you shall inherit the nations. Very messianic. It is messianic. This word in the Septuagint Greek is anastasis, which is the word, there's an act of resurrection, there's the event of the resurrection. This is the resurrection. That is fascinating what this is actually saying and telling you, not at his resurrection when he came, but at the resurrection at the end. That's when this judgment will come, when he comes back down. It hasn't been implemented yet. So Yahweh, the big G God, has judged little g Elohim in multiple places. Some are imprisoned, can't get out. Others are in prison where they can, and others are awaiting the sword of Damocles to drop. But he renders judgment over realm 2, and we think of the law and genocide. So we talked about that last week, and people get so in a tizzy to try to defend the concept that Yahweh performs and commands genocide. So the sum of it, last week you have the law that points out and stimulates sin, and sin grows, but because of the law, everything is encompassed to the law and death. So because of the law, all things, especially in realm 3, are all fallen, all must die. Some realm 2 is still holy and won't, but the fallen realm 2 also will die. But that's what it is with humanity. There is two groups, those loyal to Yahweh, those who do not worship Yahweh. If you do not worship Yahweh, you undergo genocide. It's that simple. The same thing in the New Testament. There are only two groups of people, saved and unsaved. Unsaved undergo genocide, utter destruction, haram. The same thing applies to realm 2. The holy angels will live forever with God. The fallen ones have no chance of redemption, and they undergo genocide, utter destruction, haram, the lake of fire, for eternity. So we go to Isaiah, is going to be talking probably about the future tribulation time, and you're going to see judgment of Yahweh and little g Elohim. Behold, Yahweh lays the earth waste, devastates it, distorts its service, scatters its inhabitants. The earth is polluted by its inhabitants. Realm 3, for they transgressed laws, violated statutes, broke the everlasting covenant, didn't stay loyal to Yahweh. We're talking realm 3. Therefore a curse devours the earth. Those who live in it are held guilty. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men are left. So what realm? 3. We're talking about humans. End of the tribulation, you start looking at everything that happens, the population is massively diminished. That gives you a context. For thus it will be in the midst of the earth among the peoples as the shaking. Aha, here comes judgment, shaking. As the shaking of an olive tree is the gleanings when the grape harvest is over. Terror and pit and snare confront you, O inhabitant of the earth. We're still on realm 3. Then it will be that he who flees the report of disaster will fall into the pit. He who climbs out of the pit will be caught in the snare. For the windows above are opened and the foundations of the earth shake. Multiple times you're seeing judgment from Yahweh on a lower realm. Here it's realm 3. The earth is broken asunder. The earth is split through. Third time it is shaken greatly. The earth reels to and fro like a drunkard. It totters like a shack, for its transgression is heavy upon it. It will fall to never rise again. So it will happen on that day. So you see there's a lot of realm 3 judgment, shaking 3 times, Yahweh rendering judgment on the earth, and you see that play out in Revelation, right? That's the context. On that day, what else is going to happen? Yahweh will punish, the Savah, the host. We're dealing with realm 2 now. The Savah of heaven on high, and the kings on earth below. They will be gathered together like prisoners in the dungeon, literally a pit, and will be confined in prison, and after many days will be punished. You ever wonder where all the little g Elohim go in the tribulation? We know Satan goes to the pit, so do they. Here's your verse. The moon will be abashed and the sun ashamed for Yahweh of the Sabaoth. So we know we're going to be dealing with realm 2 judgment. He will reign. Look at the messianic implications of the Messiah reigning on Mount Zion for the kingdom. And with Jerusalem, his glory will be before his elders. Number 6, there will come a day in which Yahweh will confine fallen realm 2 in a pit. And then you see the context there and the messianic implications of it. The sun and the moon, there's massive changes in the heavens. So let's go back in time. That's looking at Revelation, what will happen. We go back to the captivity. So Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, the north already went to Assyria in 722. In 605, Nebuchadnezzar comes and there's 3 deportations, 605, 597, then 586. 586 BC, Jerusalem is desolated, burned, and they're all brought captive over to Babylon. They're going to have the exile for 70 years. There's multiple prophets. There's these 3 that are post-exilic. That means they are writing as the exile is coming to a conclusion. They are in Babylon writing about the return of the Jews back to Jerusalem. So Haggai is one of those 3. Haggai 2. Speak to Zerubbabel, the governor. Why is he not the king? He's of the line of the kings. At Jeconiah, at the fall of Jerusalem, God cursed the line of the kings, and there can be no king in Jerusalem and Israel ever since that point in time. Of course, we know it goes to the Messiah. He is of the line of the kings through Joseph, but he avoids that curse because that's a legal situation. His blood goes to Mary. That also goes to David through the non-kingly line. So that's an amazing way he avoids the curse on Jeconiah. So you'll see Zerubbabel is governor. He is not king, even though he's of the line of the kings. He's a leader. So God says to Haggai, speak to Zerubbabel, saying, I, God, and there it is, going to shake. So the movement back from the Babylonian captivity back to Jerusalem is judgment on what? Realm 2. We've got a realm 2 judgment, and I will overthrow the thrones of kingdoms and destroy the power. What realm? This is realm 2. I will destroy the realm 2 power that over the kingdoms of the nations, and I will overthrow the chariots and the riders. So we know there's also realm 3. That's a spillover effect from what happens in realm 2. And the horses and their riders will go down, everyone by the sword of another. On that day, so as they get released from Babylonian captivity to go back, declares Yahweh of the Sabaoth. Here's the flags. We're going to have realm 2 judgment. Don't think realm 3. I will take you, Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, my servant, declares Yahweh. I will make you like a signet ring, for I have chosen you, declares Yahweh of the Sabaoth. So we know the context when Israel is released from captivity in Babylon. That's when Persia has taken over from Babylon. They go back to Jerusalem. There's going to be shaking of realm 2. It spills over to realm 3. So now we're going to go to another post-exilic prophet, Zechariah. We talked about this one several weeks ago. There's this scroll with judgment written on both sides. Christ himself, the angel of the Lord, puts evil incarnate into a heavy ephah with a lead covering. So that is in Jerusalem, but notice Israel is in captivity over here in Babylon. They're going to come back to Jerusalem. So the angel of the Lord puts this evil in here, and it's carried off by the storks. Where does it go? Back to the land of Shinar, which is Babylon. And there it will be until it's uncovered in Revelation. You see that in Revelation 17:18. So it is being removed from Jerusalem because Israel is going back to Jerusalem. You see the realm 2 activity here, how important it is. So now we're picking up Zechariah. And the angel of Yahweh said, "O Yahweh." Wait a minute. Here we have it again. The two, Yahweh the Father, Yahweh the Son, speaking to one another in the same passage. You find this multiple times in Scripture. The angel of the Lord, which is Yahweh, this is Yahweh the Son, said, "O Yahweh the Father of the Sabaoth." But the Messiah, Jesus Christ, also fits that term. So they are interchangeable here with the Yahweh of Sabaoth. But the Son asking the Father, "How long will you have no compassion on Jerusalem?" Here they are stuck in Babylon. "How long will this happen in the cities of Judah in which you have been indignant? You are making them pay for their sins these 70 years. Here we're coming to the end of the 70-year Babylonian captivity. They're stuck in Babylon. Now Persia is going to come knock off Babylon, and Persia is going to be in charge, and Cyrus is going to decree that the Jews can go back to Israel. Yahweh answered the angel. There you see it again. The Father answered Yahweh the Son and said, who he was speaking with me. Of course, this is realm 3, Zechariah the human. And the angel of the Lord is speaking with me, gracious and comforting words. The angel, Yahweh the Son, was speaking with me, Zechariah, and said to me, proclaim, saying, thus says Yahweh of what? The Sabaoth. Here comes realm 2. I am exceedingly jealous for Jerusalem and Zion. That is where my name needs to be, and it's been removed. I removed it for 70 years, but I will sovereignly put it back. I am exceedingly jealous. Realm 2 has nothing to offer as far as resistance. That's the realm we're talking about here is realm 2, and you know it's Yahweh Sabaoth. So we're going to continue. So Jesus, the angel of the Lord, says, I'm exceedingly jealous to go back, but you need to understand realm 3, these nations, I am very angry at them who are at ease. While I was only a little angry, they furthered the disaster. They didn't help anything that I was after. They made it worse. So that's realm 3, these nations. Therefore, what will the angel of the Lord do? Thus says, you notice he's speaking now exactly for Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh, therefore, I will return to Jerusalem with compassion. My house will be built in it. The temple will be made back there, declares the Yahweh of the Sabaoth. So we haven't seen yet what's going to happen with realm 2, but he's telling you there's massive movements coming in realm 2. A measuring line will be stretched over Jerusalem. I, Yahweh, am sovereign. Again proclaim, saying, thus says Yahweh of the Sabaoth. So this is the third time he's telling you we haven't discussed what will happen with realm 2, but realize when you are released from Babylon and you go back to Jerusalem, there will be massive shaking in realm 2. He's prepping, and we just kind of read through it and don't pay attention of what Yahweh is saying is about to happen. The cities will again overflow with prosperity, and Yahweh will again comfort Zion and choose Jerusalem. That is his area again. I was there with David and then Solomon, and it split, and then I removed it, but I will go back. I am sovereign, and that is my choice. Then I, Zechariah, the human, lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, there were 4 what? Horns. Realm 2. These are powers. Remember the horn, the Messiah who has power moving. That's realm 1. That's a huge horn moving the line of David in Israel. Here, there's other horns, other fallen, but they're Elohim. Horns are powerful. There's a rank. Horns are powerful Elohim that can move nations. So I, Zechariah, said to Yahweh the Son, the angel who was speaking with me, what are these 4 horns? And he, Yahweh the Son, the angel, said to me, these are the horns. There you see it again. These are powerful Elohim, realm 2, as described by Yahweh the Son. They have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. Of course, God was sovereign over it, but that is powerful. They have moved us over here to Babylon. Then Yahweh, notice now he's just straight up Yahweh, even though it's the angel of the Lord. Then Yahweh showed me 4 craftsmen, 4 builders. What are these dudes going to do? Remember, there's the Yahweh Sabaoth, the host, and the horns. I said, Zechariah said, what are these coming to do, these craftsmen? Yahweh responds, these are the horns. So he's pointing, make sure you understand the horns first. Don't get distracted with the craftsmen. The horns have scattered Judah, so no man lifts his head. It's all duck and cover time. But those 4 horns have scattered Jerusalem, but Yahweh is going to act. These craftsmen have come to terrify those horns. So I'm bringing other realm 2 in to terrify the fallen realm 2 horns. They are terrified to throw down. That is a violent confrontation. That is not a plea or a writ of, move out. It is combat. The horns, the powers, the Elohim, the unseen of the nations who have lifted up their horns against the land of Judah to scatter it. That's what horns do, is they move realm 3. They're powerful. Number 7, Yahweh terrifies fallen spirits, but doesn't judge them according to our timeline. But they're terrified. So we're going to think about terror, and I'm not sure if there's little kids in here, but this might get a little, I showed this to my son-in-law, JD. He wet his pants. Just don't mention that, though. So it's interesting have you ever thought how every culture on earth has a flood legend? Why is that? It's real. Do you notice every child growing up knows there's a boogeyman under the bed, and the lights are magic and the blankets work 100% of the time? Why is that universal? Because it's real. And notice what we do. I'm your father, finish your plate. I don't really know when you're full, but I'm going to tell you what to do and train you to be more obese, right? I know what's going on. I'm your father. There is nothing under the bed. Look, we shrink the thinking down to realm 3. Turn the light, and everything is realm 3 discussion. We don't teach our kids, who intuitively are created to understand what Elohim are, and we focus our thinking to realm 3, and we shrink the thinking into a very small box, and we wonder why we don't understand the Bible when we read it. Yes, if you're open to realm 2, that can be terrifying. But teach it in context of the full worldview, where there is also realm 1. Realize realm 2 is terrified of realm 1. Look at how that changes our thinking as we teach our kids. God is sovereign. Isaiah 46, remember the things long past. I am Elohim, big G. There is no other. I am Elohim. There is no one like me. I declare the end from the beginning. I say what's going to happen with Jerusalem even before it happens. From ancient times, things which have not been done, saying, my purpose will be established. I will accomplish all my good pleasure. I will accomplish it. What's the context for this in Isaiah 46? So Isaiah is written even before the northern kingdom goes, but this, he has all sorts of stuff. This is prophetic, talking about now in the exile that we were just talking about with Haggai and Zechariah. In the exile, you have, in the realm 3, you have the statue, and you have Babylon to then Persia to Greece to Rome. We're transitioning from Babylon to Persia. That will happen. It is sovereign, and those realm 2 beings can't withstand it. That is the context. Now, as Persia takes over Babylon in realm 3, there is activity in realm 2, and you see at the beginning of this passage, Bel and Nebo, those are powerful deities, horns of Babylon. But they are defeated from Persia, and they stoop over. They can't rescue. They themselves have gone into captivity. So God, Yahweh, is always in judgment of realm 2, always in control. Now we're going to look at the power of God, this concept of the roll call. By the word of Yahweh, the heavens were made, and by his breath of his mouth, all the Savah, there's different forms of that word for Savah, the host. So we're definitely talking about realm 3. This is not simply sun, moon, stars. How did realm 2 get there? It was made, it was created, it is not eternal. Notice realm 1, Yahweh is eternal, and it is made by the Word. Who's the Word? Oh, that's Logos. That's the Son, Yahweh the Son. So by Yahweh the Son, Yahweh the Father made the heavens by the breath of his mouth. He spoke it into existence. Yahweh answered Job out of the whirlwind in Job 38 and said, who is this that darkens wisdom with words without knowledge? Gird up your loins, Job, like a man. I will ask you, and you instruct me if you're asking me questions. Where were you, Job, when I laid the foundations of the earth, day 1 of creation? Where were you? Tell me if you have understanding. Who set the measurements as I laid the foundations of the earth? Who set the measurements? Since you obviously must know, you're so smart. Who stretched the line on it, or on what where its base is sunk, or who laid the cornerstone? Not much of an answer from Job. What happened at that time when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God, the Bene Elohim, the realm 2, the sons of God, the angelic beings, all, notice that's all, that's before the fall, all were rejoicing and shouting for joy. Where were you, Job, on day 1? So they were made early in day 1, and then the foundations of the earth are made. As I'm making the foundations of the earth, those beings are rejoicing. That is when this happened. Notice humans don't show up till day 6. This can't relate to any human. And it can't relate to the sun, moon, and stars because those don't show up till day 4. But yet these are called stars. Yes, there can be physical stars, and quite a lot of the time, especially when it's talking about the host, it will be angelic beings, realm 2, not the physical realm 3 stars. So now we go to Isaiah 40, this very interesting passage. It's a roll call. Do you not know? Have you not heard? Has it not been told you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he, Yahweh, who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in, who brings princes to nothing and makes the rulers of the earth as emptiness. To whom then will you compare me, Elohim is saying? that I should be like him, says the Holy One, the Kadosh. This is singular. So you will read holy ones, which are realm 2 angelic beings. Sometimes people try to make them be as humans, and you get into a lot of confusion. Every now and then it can be, but this is typically realm 2. But this is the Holy One, the Kadosh. This dude who created all, another term for Yahweh. He has multiple names, but when it says Yahweh, you know exactly who it is. Lift up your eyes and see. Lift up. Don't look at realm 2. Lift up to realm 3. Who created that? Who brings out the host? There you see the Savah. Who brings out the host by number, by their name? Because he is strong in power, not one is missing. So why? Why is not one missing? Because he is strong in power. This is talking about Yahweh the Father, but also Yahweh the Son. We're going to move to the New Testament, the Alpha. In Colossians 1, 15 to 17, he, Jesus, is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For by him, the Son, notice how this parallels Psalm 33, for by him, the Son, all things were created, in heaven, earth, visible, invisible, thrones, dominions, rulers, authorities, realm 2. You can't be more clear of saying all of realm 2 here is the context. All things were created through him and for him. He is the creator. He, Christ, is before all things. In him all things, specifically talking about realm 2, holds together. Without him, it just evaporates. It holds together. Hebrews 1, talking about the same concept. In these last days, he, the Father, has spoken to us through his Son, whom he appointed heir of all things, through whom, notice, God the Father, through the Son, made the world, created it. And he, Jesus, is the radiance of his glory and the exact representation of his nature. He, Christ, upholds all things by the word of his power. He is upholding it. Number 8, Christ created realm 2 and upholds it by the word of his power. So think about if he simply withdraws some of his power and how things evaporate. So of course, that's a movie, but you see, even Thanos, death himself, has to be upheld, and if that is withdrawn, you evaporate away. That's the context that Colossians and Hebrews is telling us about Christ and how he deals with realm 2. He didn't wind stuff up and let it go rogue. It's off the leash. It's never off the leash. Its existence is dependent on him actively upholding. So now, with that information in mind, let's go back to this roll call in Isaiah 40, because God, Yahweh, is calling roll, and you will be present. Lift up your eyes and see who created realm 2, the Savah, by their number, calling them by name. That's roll call. So one instant, he can have all of them called because he is infinite. Boom, the message is out, and you will be here. Notice God is omnipresent. He can call roll here and still be involved with us here. He calls roll, and phew, there they go. How do you deal with a demon under your bed? You don't, he does, right? Don't teach your kids to shrink their thinking to realm 3. This is roll call. Why is not one little g Elohim, realm 2, missing? It is because of his power. Notice this is a power passage, and we think realm 3, we read right through it, we never understand that realm 2 can't even skip roll call because of his power. That is a whole new way of thinking of the power of Yahweh. And notice he is the Kadosh, the Holy One. Number 9, none of the heavenly hosts can skip roll call due to the power of Yahweh. We continue, you'll see, you've memorized this passage. Why do you say, O Jacob, and speak, O Israel, my way is hidden from Yahweh? Why would you say that? And my right is disregarded by Elohim. O Jacob, why would you think he doesn't see? Have you not known? Have you not heard? He created realm 2. He calls them to roll call. They can't even skip that. Yahweh is everlasting Elohim. He is the everlasting one. He is the creator, bara. He can speak things into existence from the ends of the earth. He, Yahweh, does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. It's infinite. You can't even speak his thoughts. Why on earth, why, O Israel, would you say your way is hidden, that he doesn't know what's going on? He calls realm 2, and they are there. You are puny. So what is this about? I asked this at some of the gals in my work, and one of them went to a Christian school and said, oh yeah, that's about the glory of God. So yes, it is about the glory of God, and I asked, well, why? I don't know. but I've memorized it. Why? Do we have the glasses to see appropriately? Yes, it's the glory of God, but far more it's the power of God. Do we see what he's actually saying and think about what it means for God to say, I have power? Not even the little imp in realm 2 can fail to show up. I will disintegrate him. They have fear and terror over me. That is power that goes through the entire universe. So we conclude to where we've all memorized some of this. He, Yahweh, gives strength. Notice this is a strength and power passage. He gives strength to the weary, and to him who lacks might, Yahweh increases power. Though youths grow weary and tired, and vigorous young men stumble badly, yet those who wait on Yahweh, wait does not mean sit there sucking your thumb. Wait means eagerly anticipating what he has promised. So let's say you're in the Babylonian captivity, you know it goes 70 years, you are eagerly awaiting the movement of the horns and judgment to go back. You are waiting for the promises of God, not sitting idly by. They will gain new strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not get tired. They will walk and not become weary. Think of the strength, and we've memorized that, and we never thought about what it means in realm 2. It's about strength, about Yahweh, the creator who is sovereign in realm 1, demonstrating it over realm 2. Why on earth, O Israel, would you think I don't see what's going on in puny realm 3? That's the afterthought from what happens in realm 2. So go to the New Testament. It's very interesting how this correlates. They went to Capernaum, and when the Sabbath came, Jesus went to the synagogue and began to teach. The people were amazed at his teaching because Jesus taught as one who had authority. This dude's different, not as the teachers of the law. Just then a man in their synagogue who was possessed by an impure spirit cried out, "What do you want to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us?" He's afraid. Number 10. Evil spirits know that Christ may destroy them at any moment. Well, who's he talking to? I know who you are. Who's the demon talking to? Oh, this is Jesus. He is the Kadosh, the Holy One from Isaiah 40, who created it all and calls roll, and you will be here. That's the Holy One. We read it, we go through. Of course, we realize he won't call him Son of Man. They won't acknowledge he came in the flesh. They won't call him Lord. They won't bow before him, but he knows exactly who the Holy One is, and he acknowledges that. He is afraid that he will disintegrate. That is fear. That is terror. That is power. So now let's look at marionettes, like these little dudes that, they have puppets with. So Ahab, he was the king in the north. In the south, you have Jerusalem. In the north, you have Samaria. He goes up to Tyre, to Ethbaal, Baal, that's his name. He's the king and priest to Baal. His daughter Jezebel, Baal. He imports that wife into the north in Israel and imports Baal worship. And then their offspring, Athaliah, goes in and penetrates into the line of David going to the Messiah and has it all down to one human being. We remember that story. For 6 years, there's one human being in the line to Messiah. That is importing Baal into Israel. So the question is, how does Yahweh kill Ahab? This is fascinating. 1 Kings 22. Micaiah the prophet said, "Therefore hear the word of Yahweh. I, Micaiah, saw the Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the that's the evil and the good, all the host of heaven standing beside him, on his right and on his left." Notice that's not stars. That's realm 2. And Yahweh said, "Who will entice Ahab that he may go up and fall?" Ahab will die. No getting around it. Who will entice Ahab that he will go and die at the predestined time that I have now determined? One said this, another said that. Then a spirit came forward and stood before Yahweh, saying, "I will entice him." Yahweh said to that spirit, "Okay, by what means?" Notice there's a whole council throwing out ideas. These beings have free will, throwing out their ideas. This will happen. How it happens is, let's see, what do you guys have ideas? "I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets." And Yahweh said, "You are to entice him. You shall succeed. Go and do so. Therefore now behold," this is Micaiah speaking to Ahab, "Yahweh has put a lying spirit in the mouth of your prophets. Yahweh has declared disaster for you. You are a dead man." Number 11, Yahweh is sovereign over free will to accomplish his predestined plan. It's predestined that Ahab will die. How is up to the free will of these realm 2s. but the disaster has been declared. You don't want to be in that position where Yahweh has decreed disaster for you. There's no getting out. You're walking dead. Judges 9:22-24, similar story. Abimelech ruled over Israel 3 years, and God, Elohim, sent an evil spirit. God sent the evil spirit between Abimelech and the leaders of Shechem, and the leaders of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech. Why? So this is right after Jerubbaal, which was Gideon, so he freed them. He's got 70 sons, but Abimelech kills his brothers, and the men of Shechem help him do this. So now God is determining punishment. You notice he did it through an evil angel, an evil spirit. Why? So that violence done to the 70 sons of Gideon might come and their blood be laid on Abimelech, their brother, who killed all of his brothers except one, and on the men of Shechem who helped him kill his brothers. Now they will die, and that's going to be the death of Abimelech. So whether you're Ahab or Abimelech, you are being toyed with by evil realm too, to execute the judgment dictated by Yahweh. Fascinating to think. We think free will. Yes, we have free will, but it's pretty puny. God has foreknowledge. That doesn't dictate things happen. That's knowing what will happen and also what might happen. He never gets confused stringing all that together. And then there is predestination. That will happen. The predestined thing will happen, but you can have foreknowledge, God can, of something that won't happen. And we see that in multiple passages. He has complete sovereignty over all things. So we need to realize sovereignty is the top bar. Because he is sovereign, he predestines. He has foreknowledge of all things. Free will is way down here, and only a sovereign God can give free will. That's a topic for another day, but only a sovereign God can give free will. But it is still small. But then that is what you and I are accountable for, and judgment is what we do with our free will. And you see this played out with Job. Satan has free will. Okay, you have free will, just don't touch him. Okay, now you can touch him, but you can't kill him. See, Satan has free will, what he does there, but it's always constrained with a leash by Yahweh. He is the puppet master of all things. He is sovereign. Why don't we like that? Why don't we like the fact that Realm 2 can play with us like a cat does a mouse? I'm in charge around here. We like that. That's the essence of the temptation. Ye shall be as God. You shall be as higher. You can determine what is right or wrong. We're sheep. And if you're a sheep and there's wolves, and those wolves from Realm 2, you better hope you got a fence from Realm 1, keeping you safe. You think at Bain and Batman, who's really in charge? One more clip. You can't handle Bain, that's Realm 3. What are you going to do with Realm 2? Notice Yahweh, the Father, does this all the time. Here in Revelation, there's various Realm 2 creatures that go, but they always have a leash that is defined. You can go here, but not there. You can not kill, but torment. Okay, now you can kill. Yahweh controls the leash. Think of our baptism as we kind of close, and we make a declaration to Realm 3. Notice how we teach people to restrict their thinking to Realm 3. Psalm 138, I give you thanks, O Yahweh, with my whole heart. Before the Elohim, I sing your praises. Do we realize one of the things that should be going through our minds with our baptism is that we are showing our allegiance to Realm 2, that we now belong to Yahweh. It's not simply a Realm 3 deal. 13, focusing on Realm 3 precludes comprehension of spiritual warfare. Why do we teach people to do that? So here's our summary. Is God sovereign? Yes, he's sovereign. He judges not only Realm 3, but Realm 2. And you look at that Isaiah 40 passage of roll call, go read through that, and it is amazing how this is a Realm 2 passage demonstrating the power of the Creator Yahweh and Christ, who even upholds fallen spirits. They can't avoid roll call. Yes, things are marionettes. Yes, we have free will, but our free will is pale compared to God's sovereignty. That's really a bigger discussion for another day. Let's pray as we move on. Dear Lord, I thank you for this day. Help us to realize your word teaches us true perspective between the realms. Help us to submit to you, realizing that is our only hope to even deal with anything in Realm 2. Thank you for loving us and giving us salvation. In Jesus' name, amen. So we better move. It's a little late. Have a great day.